Hi guys, welcome to Simple Programming. In this video, let us see what is Spring Webflux framework. The Webflux framework is part of Spring 5 and provides reactive programming support for web applications. In simple terms, it provides full non-blocking applications that are asynchronous. It provides support to go fully event driven. It helps to become elastic, that is, to have a small number of threads and to scale seamlessly. It almost behaves like a completable future, but is future rich when compared to the later. Now, why do we need reactive programming? Well, there are different things that you need to consider if reactive programming is a thing for you. The first one is responsive. Responsive means if you raise a stream of events, it will return response in a fraction of time in highly concurrent environments. So that's what responsive meant. So resilient. Resilient means application should be responsive at the time of failure. Elastic. Elastic means your system should handle a n number of requests. It should have the capability to load balance at any given condition. Message driven. Message driven means asynchronous flow of execution, where you don't have to wait for a response after sending the request to the server. Once we send the request, it moves to the next item and it should not depend upon the first response. And the first request response should be handled by a callback mechanism. The Webflux framework gives you different components to make use of, like for example, Mono, Flux, and that is a web client too. So Mono means it can hold a single object. Flux is a container to hold a collection. A web client is similar to your REST template. You can use this to call remote REST services, but is more aligned to work with Spring reactive components, as it is fully reactive and gives you a functional feel to work with. Let me give you an example. Let us say that your servlet container can serve 1000 threads at a time. We know that when a request comes in, it will be taken up by a new thread, and when it goes to a DB call or write a file, there is an IO operation involved in this case, which has a wait, and we know, and the thread will wait for the IO operation to complete before sending back the response and take up a new request. What if some issue happens and all the 1000 threads working on the multiple requests are waiting for the IO operation to complete? Performance will take a hit, right? And in order to solve this situation, these threads need to be freed to take up new requests. So what asynchronous does is, when there is a wait, the waiting thread will be freed and starts to serve other new requests and does not wait for the IO operation to complete. When the IO operation is complete and data is made available, then the driver or the stream will send the data to either the same thread or a new thread to process and return back the response. The entire process works like an event. Sending to database will be an event, and when the database processes and sends back the result will be an event. This way you can control the number of threads which are alive in your application at a given time. It makes the application more efficient and gives a complete non-blocking asynchronous process. This way you have a limited set of threads to do the processing with better efficiency. Well, non-blocking was popularized by Completable Future and Reactive X. Spring Webflux gives you a annotation-based reactive components which are much easier to work with. What is the advantage of using the Webflux framework? Scalability. You have a better CPU utilization. You can do a better thread management, and you can stream data seamlessly without any issues. These are the different advantages of using the Webflux framework. What will be the disadvantages? So, Spring Reactive is not for everyone. There are few things that you need to consider and take care when you move to this framework. The entire application will become reactive and functional, and it will be very difficult to debug and understand. It is mostly suitable for very high volume processing applications or applications with high concurrency and real-time streaming applications. So what are the ideal cases where you can implement reactive programming? There are three things that I can think of. If your application handles a very high number of transaction processing, for example, a banking application, then reactive is a thing for you. Or else, if you are a very large online shopping application, for example, like Amazon, eBay, and you want to implement different notification services, different services that completely stream data to different applications, then reactive is for you. If your application is a stock market business application or a trade business application that streams live data to the end user, then reactive is definitely a thing for you. In our next video, let us try to implement the concept of Webflux framework and see how these things work. Thanks for watching, guys, and please subscribe for more such videos.